Okay, the model I'm going to use for my explanation is a piece of writing. It's a story that a student has written for the English language exam. However, the principles I'm going to show you will apply to anything. It can apply to a sporting skill, a piece of artwork, a piece of DT, a maths problem to a complex maths solution. The principles will apply, and I hope I'll be able to show that as we go along. So here we have a 39 out of 40 mark answer, so nearly 100%. And I deliberately chose the shortest one I could find because that's what I would want to show my students. I want a whole, this, that will explain what I want them to understand as quickly as possible. So they're going to read with my guidance the whole example, and then I'm going to get them to imitate it in some way. Now I can do that in two ways. The first is the one that teachers find most easy. They say, right, well, here we've got a model about these two characters meeting in a garden. Now I want you to go and write your own model with two different characters meeting on a train or whatever. We don't tend to give our students the same task. But actually, that is stupid. So, imagine training to be a chef or a carpenter. What we would say is, here is this fantastic Thai green curry. Now go and make this exact Thai green curry. Here is this brilliant table. Go and make this exact table with the exact proportions so I know you've understood the model. So, what we actually need to do first is take the model and recreate it. In the case of a story like this, we could do it quite easily. We could get the kids to write down the main idea of each paragraph, so then they would know how many paragraphs there were. Then we might say to them, okay, for every line you can pick the two most important words. I'm picking at random here, squirrels and oak, bench and apex, what have you. And then one paragraph at a time, the student would reconstruct them in their own words. Obviously, they would not come up with exactly the same paragraph. But what is missing in their writing will give you the clue as to the next bit of feedback. So it makes learning super powerful. The other way it makes the learning powerful is you don't have to explain what's missing. You just show the kid, here is the model that we're working from. Go back and look and see what you haven't yet understood. Oh, I didn't understand how to use the semicolon. Oh, I didn't spell antidote correctly. Oh, I wasn't using commas where I should have done in a list, or whatever it is. They will pick up much more than you were teaching them. Now, once they've written the whole model, you will have a really good idea, as will they, about what they've understood about this specific model before they then start applying it to other contexts. And as teachers, we tend to rush onto a new context much too quickly, or we break things down into much too small parts without building up to the whole again. So that's how to use a top grade model. The second principle that you want, you'll notice that this is my response 8. I have written responses that go all the way from the lowest marks. So in the terminology, these are called non-examples, or I guess average stuff. So whatever you're looking at, let's say it's a drawing with perfect perspective, you'd then go and look at a drawing which had imperfect perspective, and you would teach the students from that what a non-example looks like. So here exactly the same. They would have this side by side with response 8, which got 39 marks. This gets 21 marks out of 41. So it's not a disaster, but it's only halfway good. And then they could start to explore what makes this model not good enough. Now you have a number of approaches. You could decide to get them to rewrite a bit like this. Rewrite that using 3 things you learnt from the better model, or using 1 thing you learnt from the better model. rewrite this using one thing you got from the better model. Or you might get them to rewrite the whole thing. This is 180 words. The other was over 280 words. So your target is to use 100 to 150 words to rewrite this and make it better. Or you might get quite granular. You might say, I want you to introduce 3 types of punctuation that do not exist in this response, and any words that you need to introduce to make that punctuation fit. Off you go. The same would work in art. You might decide to get them to use particular brushstrokes or particular kinds of cross-hatching or shading. You can imagine how that might work in a maths problem by introducing larger numbers or more processes, an extra subtraction or a multiplication or a fraction. Whatever it is, it would be easy to build up the complexity from a non-example. The final thing with non-examples is that they're really useful to explore misconceptions.